language. I grew up knowing the difference between a Chaldean and a Muslim by the car they drove. The Polish girls at St. Alphonsus used to secretly find the Arab boys cute at our rival school. The Catholic church bell never, ever outrang the call to prayer. A mix of hummus and pierogies and Michigan sausage, AC/DC Rolling Stones, and sometimes when Detroit drove across Tireman into Dearborn, there was Stevie Wonder and Flashlight, and there was me and my yellow-brown brothers and sisters up early every morning, leaving our utopic, semi-middle-class Detroit neighborhood, crossing over into a culture clash that sometimes turned bloody in Detroit. The place where liquor stores and Coney Islands brought an international flavor to our majority American black residential neighborhoods. Raphael Dent was one of the many cases that caused friction. His shooting death by an Arab store owner split our community in two. And after coming home, after 12 years in the desert, making salat in Marrakesh, being called an American gazelle by Muslim men, learning how to cook inside a tangine over natural fire, and a soccer team full of Muslim boys on a bus screaming, Allah, Allah, in the direction of my tattoo on a busy Casablanca strip, I was back in a place that did not know I was their daughter. And it didn't hit me till I stepped inside a very sacred place on any weekend for any woman, a shopping mall. So I was walking inside this mall in Dearborn, which borders Detroit. When I was young, my mother and her best friend, both white women with black husbands and children, both boycotted Dearborn. Dearborn didn't want Detroiters, niggas, in their pools, parks, and city in general. Dearborn is where I learned some bits and pieces of Arabic, which berries were safe to eat, and when my hair was wet in the pool, they didn't quite know what to think until it dried up into a kinky afro like it's about to do before the show. Then it was clear to me that me and my sister were from the other D. So years later, I'm in this mall, and this young girl's in this elevator with me speaking fluent Arabic in front of me, checking out this large piece of Allah bling I had around my neck, and she said, you know, I've never seen anything like that before. But I grew up across the street from Islam. Two worlds, one palm, little girl with covered hair, ISIS stare, skin fair, watch the hijab, head nod. When I found Islam, the call to prayer was sleeping inside a hip-hop beat. Covering up and being modest meant some baggy jeans and Maurice Malone, Fear Allah, or Jeans Like Jesus logo. Islam wasn't just brown people from the Middle East. They weren't just the Arab men who owned liquor stores in our neighborhoods. The men who flirted with black girls and we never saw their wives. Islam was Idris black and smooth, Ishmael yellow and cool, as fly sisters who could rhyme, wrap their hair in raw silk, and stop you with their walk. It was Azah, who designed clothes from potato sacks. It was Hassan, the dancer, full-time Allah promoter, a walking billboard, a salesman for Detroit for change. Sometimes we were Muslim hoodlums. We were Detroiters. We drove cars and brought our permits to school in our backpacks. How many Christians do you know pray 5 times a day with 18 credit hours? Islam was a hip-hop shop open mic with DJ Sabotage and DJ Head spinning. Islam was proof in a freestyle battle against Busta Rhymes, where he was still with leaders of the new school, and he won. I'm telling you, he won. That was St. Andrew's Hall. So years later, when a young girl from Lebanon was riding on an elevator with me and my son and my mother at Fairlane Town Center in Dearborn, openly talking about the large symbol of Allah bling I was sporting around my neck, I had to involve myself in the conversation. I was clearly not the hip-hopper from 93. I was grown with a baby stroller, tight jeans, and uncovered braided hair. I asked her if she was talking about my necklace, and she said she was taken off guard, but excited that I said something. She said yes, then asked if I was a Muslim. This is the time when you always say yes, Jess. The other time is when the Jehovah's Witnesses are knocking at the door. She asked if I was from Africa, Morocco maybe. She said she never seen anything like me before. Well, anything like what? You never seen a black girl with a lot of Islam around her head? You never seen a black girl with a lot of Islam around her head? You've never seen her breakdance pose into her prayer position? You never threw a snowball across the other side of Tireman, sis? Don't you know Allah doesn't belong to you, to Dearborn, to the Middle East, to any race or culture or gender or hairstyle or fundamentalist group for that matter. And that's when I remember how I found Islam inside hip-hop, how I found Stokely and Farrakhan and Sonia and Stokely and Farrakhan and Sonia and Malcolm and Assata and Malcolm and Assata and all the voices of resistance. And I wondered if this little girl, would have seen all of this if she would have just had the nerve to simply cross the street. wedding at Juma. I am a butterfly, and soon, very soon, I will land. Even my busy wings get tired from all this flying. Darling,